Hello, so this is weird. I'm filming my intro after I just filmed the outro because I wanted to do it a little bit different today. Also, side note, I made my bed today for this video. I haven't made my bed in like 2 weeks, but I liked this angle, but you could see my bed in the back and I'm like, well, I could change the angle or I could actually make my bed. So I did. So that is our accomplishment of the day. So today's look, I got a request to do a colorful pastel eyeshadow look while implicating a little bit of white. So that is what we did today. I ended up using white, pink, and purple mostly with a little bit of shimmer. So as I said, I started afterwards because I wanted to show you what the final look is going to look like. So this is a tutorial on how I did that. Originally what I was going to do in today's video is I was going to have the one eye done and then I was going to kind of like walk through what I did afterwards, but I thought it'd be a little bit more fun to kind of create the look with you guys. So what I did is I did one part on one eye and then I came back on camera, showed you what I just did, went off camera, decided what I wanted to do next, did that on the other eye, came back, the same pattern. That's not necessarily going to be the format of all my tutorial videos, but that's what I decided to do today. So let me know if you like that format. But yeah, I hope this is helpful. I hope you guys like it, and yeah, enjoy the video. Okay, so I'm going to start off by priming my eyes. So the eye primer I'm going to be using today is the e.l.f. Putty eye primer. You totally, though, if you just have a concealer, a lot of times I just like to use a concealer. I do recommend taking some sort of pressed powder though if you're using a concealer and setting that first, just because it can be a little bit easier to blend. Even with an eye primer, if you find that you have a little bit of a harder time blending, you can totally once again set it with powder and it's going to make blending a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my first eye and then I will explain on the other one. Okay, so the first eye is primed. So what I did today is I was stupid yesterday and I accidentally left this open, so I did take a little bit of setting spray beforehand. It's not a complete like liquid, or it's not like a pomade to where it completely dries to where you can't use it, but it is a little bit harder when it's been dried out. So I did go ahead, rehydrate it a little bit. So today I'm going a little bit more I'm using a little bit more product just because I really want those bright colors to show up. If I was doing a more neutral, I may not use as much eye primer. This one is in the shade, I think it's just straight out white. It doesn't list the shade name, but it's a really bright white. This does come in other shades. I eventually kind of want to get one closer to my skin tone for more neutral days, but when you're playing with bright colors, having a white primer can really help. So I'm just going to take a flat concealer brush. And I like to work starting right under the brow. This white is kind of nice too because it can help highlight your brow. And I just like to start under the brow to kind of like highlight the shape that I did. So I just start under the brow and then I'm going to just drag this down my eye. Like so. I'm kind of looking at my mirror too. I've got a mirror next to this to reference. I'm going to use a little bit more just to make this even with my other eye. And a lot of times I'll take a little bit more and then just work across the lid depending on how bright I want the primer for that day. And then what I like to do, this can come out a little bit chunky. It's kind of hard to tell, but it can look a little bit chunky. So I'm just going to take a beauty sponge. And I just kind of press and it helps smooth everything out and make it look really smooth. So essentially what this eye primer is going to do is, because it is white, it's going to help obviously make it brighter, but it also is going to help make sure that my stuff blends a little bit easier and it's going to make the eyeshadow stick. Concealer will do the same thing. It's going to make that eyeshadow stick and it's just going to make it last a little bit longer throughout the day. So originally I wasn't going to set this with powder, but I changed my mind. I wanted to smooth it out just a little bit more. So I'm just going to take a pressed powder. This is the Fit Me powder on a fluffier brush. And I'm just going to tap that all over the eye. And it's just going to help set and smooth it and make it a little bit easier to blend. Okay, so I did want to just start off with kind of a transition shade. It'll just kind of be like something to kind of like help transition the colors. I don't necessarily need one for this look that I'm doing today, but I decided to do one. So I'm going to be using mostly today the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro Ultimate Artistry Shadow Palette. This eyeshadow palette, though, if you have a different palette with similar colors, feel free to use it. I don't know that they sell this on their website anymore. I know that Kohl's sells it online. You just have to be careful because there was a lot of complaints on Kohl's that whenever they got it, that it came broken. So make sure if you do order from Kohl's that they have a return policy just in case. But I mean, you can use any palette that you have, or even if you, I don't know, if I used like a blue and you want to use a green instead, feel free. You can make it your own, and you can kind of take inspiration. If there's colors you want to follow, you can. You know, there's all kinds of fun things you can do. So I just wanted to say that really fast. So I'm going to I took this kind of beige shade. This brush came from the Naked Cherry palette. It's just kind of a fluffier, it's one of those, it's dense but it's also larger kind of a brush. It's kind of hard to explain, but I just took this brush and I went in there, and I'm just going to work this above the crease like so. Try to come in a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just working this, and I'm really just blending it back and forth. I'm not really working to like pack it just because I don't need this to be too pigmented. So I'm just swiping, doing like the windshield wiper motions like they call it, to just blend this out. And then afterwards I have this really fluffy brush, but I recommend having a makeup brush cleaner like this because you can just run your brush to that and it gets off the excess color. But you can get these for like $5. I've seen them at Five Below. I got mine at Forever 21. I know Walmart has them, and it's just kind of nice to have to make sure, you know, if you've got a neutral look going, you don't accidentally, you know, blend bright blue. You know, it just kind of helps clean everything up. You can even just use a towel too. But anyway, I'm just taking this really fluffy brush, and I'm just going to do the same kind of blending motion and just really blend this into the eye. Okay, so since I was doing kind of an ombre, since I was doing a bright pastel look with some white, that was really hard for me to figure out how to say, don't know why. I thought today for colors, I'm going to do this nice, I've got this purple. I thought it could kind of be an ombre effect into a pink, into a lighter pink, and then into a white. So I'm starting with a more dense brush, and I'm going to start with this purple. I'm really just building up this pigment. So what I'm going to do, instead of initially like immediately going into those windshield wiper motions, I want this purple to be a little bit more pigmented. So I'm going to start up here because I want this more to be kind of the outer shade. I'm going to more do kind of like a tapping motion than per se a blending motion, because I don't want to automatically kind of get rid of that color. If you want kind of a colorful look that's a little bit more toned down, then you can start by blending. But if you want a little bit more of a more pigmented and bright look, I recommend packing it on first and then blending it, which is what we're going to do. So this looks a little crazy at first, but I'm just packing this kind of out around the eye. I went a little bit high. I might take a makeup wipe and kind of lower it just a little bit. But this is going to kind of be my outer corner shade. We're going in a little bit of a reverse order today. So I'm just packing this on, and then I'm going to take this fluffy brush again. It's cute. It's like a Betty Boop brush from Ipsy. They had a Betty Boop series. I really like this brush though, but I'm going to take this fluffy brush and I'm just going to blend and just get any harsh lines off. So I'm just blending that out to try to make it look as smooth as possible. I don't want it to look too, I don't know where I was going with this, but I just want to make it look smooth and blended, and it'll help whenever we're making kind of that ombre effect. It'll help it kind of look gradual while still looking colorful. And it kind of helps with that whole kind of pastel vibe, is that what I was looking for? Pastel feel. It kind of creates, it's still colorful, but it has that nice pastel feel to it. Okay, so now I just worked the pink. I may end up going back with a little bit of that purple because I went a little bit high initially with that pink. So to bring the purple back, I might come back with a little bit of it. I have that initial transition shade in my crease, but this purple is also kind of turning into my transition shade. So I've got a little bit of both of that too. That purple is just essentially going to help kind of like a starting point as it comes down. So there is this pink next to this purple, so I'm just going to pack my brush. These shades, they're really pigmented, but they also start off kind of, they're pigmented, but they're not the most pigmented shades, so I am making sure to really pack my brush. And I'm going to mostly focus in this crease area, coming just a little bit higher than the crease, but mostly, as I said, staying in that crease area. So I've got a nice kind of ombre or rainbow effect. I'm looking in this mirror for reference, and I'm still making sure to pack on. This shade, I'm not blending as much. I'm still going to blend it because I want it to be smooth, but I'm not as concerned about this shade. So there's that. Initially, I was going to build up the purple. I haven't decided if I want to or not yet. So I'm just kind of layering this to really bring out the pink. And then I might go back with a little bit of purple. So I am taking that purple and I'm just kind of working on this really outer V just a little bit, just to kind of make the purple a little bit more pigmented, but still have that nice ombre effect. Okay, so now I'm just took this really light pink right here on a more kind of flat, still a little fluffy, but flat brush. And I just worked it on my outer corner, where the outer part of my lid, kind of bleeding into that outer corner. Once again, it's just creating that kind of soft ombre look. And there really wasn't much to it. It was just kind of packing it on and blending it out. Okay, so I did decide the purple to light pink. I wanted it to be a little bit more drastic. So I went into this Hanging in Hawaii palette, also by BH Cosmetics. And I'm just taking the shade Paradise on the tip of this brush, and I'm just going in and just tapping it right on this outer corner. And then after that, I'm taking this fluffy brush and just really making sure that it's blended. And then I do have a brush with the light pink still on it, and I'm kind of retouching up that light pink. Okay, so now I'm going to get into using the matte white. So if you want to just go straight into the white, put it on your, lid where I'm about to put it, you can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of cut the crease with some concealer, and it's just going to make that white look a little bit more pigmented. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my concealer, I'm going to take a flat brush. So you want to make sure you don't want to get too heavy with the concealer because it can get kind of messy. And then I'm just going to focus it right in this inner part of my crease. Like, so just try to knock everything down. And whenever you're using the concealer, you want to try to keep your eye, you don't want to completely open your eye just because it can get kind of messy. Now, if you're wanting to have a real dramatic cut crease, I know you can open your eye and really cut the crease, but I don't want to too much. So, and then I'm still learning when it comes to cut creases. I don't do them a ton, but they can help shades look really pigmented and really nice. And then I'm just going to load that flat brush with a bit of a matte white. I'm just going to pack it where I put the concealer. I opened my eye a little bit. I'll have to fix that. I'm dropping everything. So I'm just taking a matte white shade from the Artistry palette and building that up. And then I take, once again, you might have to go into that light pink and just kind of blend that out again. Okay, so if you want to leave it matte like this side, you totally can, but I decided that I wanted to bring in a little bit of shimmer. So I'm going to go back into this Hawaii palette, and there's a shade called Hula. If you want really good shimmer shades, the shimmer shades in this palette are better than a lot of high-end shimmer shades. I mean, absolutely amazing. So you're gonna get some really nice shimmers from this palette. This is the Hanging in Hawaii. So I'm just gonna take my finger and hula, and then I'm just gonna tap it where I've got that matte white. I like to use my finger. You can use a brush. I find that it's a lot more pigmented though when you use your finger. I will use a brush for my inner corner though here in a second, just because I'll make it a little bit easier. And then once again, just one more time, there's a lot of blending with this look. Just kind of blending that light pink out again, just so it's kind of a smooth transition from this matte into the shimmer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that same shade on kind of this smaller brush, and I'm just going to focus it on my inner corner just to give that a pop. Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to blend some purple into the lower lash line. So using that same purple I used earlier, I'm just going to take this kind of smudger brush, and I'm just going to blend this in my lower lash line, like so. And this is just going to add a pop of color and kind of connect everything. And I thought about putting purple in my waterline, but I think I'm just going to use a black today. But you could, if you wanted to, put this in the waterline too. Instead though, I am going to take this long-lasting eyeliner by Essence for my waterline. This product, if you are like me, I've got an issue whenever I love having like a black eyeliner in my waterline, but I always have the issue of it smudges by the end of the day. This is the only eyeliner, and I've tried high-end ones too, so this is high-end included, that I can get to stay in my waterline without moving. So I'm going to show you kind of how I apply it and how I've found to get it to stay best. So I'm going to just start with adding a layer in my waterline. So after I do that first layer in my waterline, I switch to the other eye and do the same. So while I've been doing the other eye, this one, even though it hasn't been very long, it's had a chance to kind of dry down. So I'm going to do a second layer. Okay. Sorry, I know that's kind of, it always kind of disturbed me when people did their waterline on camera, but I wanted to kind of explain this process. I'll put, if it disturbs you, I'll put like a caption of where you can skip to skip this. And then I take an angled brush. Be nice if I could find my angled brush. Okay, I take an angled brush into a black shadow. There is one in here. A lot of times I really like the black shadow in the Tati Beauty palette, but I'm just going to use that since this is what's right here. And I'm just kind of tapping the excess off so I don't get it in my contact. I'm just going to tap or press this black over it, and it's just going to help. It's the same as if you would take like a setting powder over your foundation. You are setting your waterline though instead. And if you do get a little bit in your eye, don't freak out. It's not going to hurt you. Obviously I wouldn't recommend like just putting a ton in your eye, but a little bit in your eye is not going to hurt you. So I'm going to take that purple now, and since that black can kind of run down, I'm going to bring this purple just a little bit lower, like so. And if you did decide to skip over the waterline part, essentially what I did is I did one eye, did the other one, gave that a chance. It gave this eye a chance to dry. So I did 2 layers of the eyeliner on each eye, and then I took a matte black shadow and I just pressed it over to kind of set it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do my lower lash mascara, and then normally I just do mascara, but I think I am going to do false lashes today since it was such, it's a more dramatic look. So a mascara, to me Essence makes the best mascaras hands down. They're always super pretty. So I'm going to use the Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara Waterproof. I do like the formula of the non-waterproof a little bit better, but I find that it smudges on my eyes really bad. So I do like to use this waterproof formula. I'm just going to hit my lower lashes. It does help to kind of look down whenever you're doing your lower lashes. Or is it up? There was a whole trick about like you can either look down or up and it helps. I don't remember. Okay, I'm gonna do the other eye. Okay, so my bottom lashes are done. I will do my top lashes here in a minute. A lot of people like to do mascara before their false lashes. I find for me, I like to do it afterwards. So that's what I'm gonna do. But what does help me with smudging, even when, I had a brush I wanted to use. Where did I put it? I'll just use this one for now. Even when I'm using waterproof, I still do this trick. It really helps with smudging. Right afterwards, I take my pressed powder on a brush like this, and I just set under wherever my lashes touch. That way that kind of helps set that mascara and kind of help it to stop smudging. So I am going to do false lashes today. Where did I put? Oh, here they are. They're buried. My desk is a mess currently. Today is cleaning day afterwards. Dropping everything. I've dropped just about everything on my desk today. But I'm going to be using the Kiss Look So Natural lashes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first eye and then I will explain how to do it on the other eye. Okay, so while this lash is setting, it is drying right now. I kind of put it on kind of weird. I'm still not great at false lashes. I'm going to explain what has helped me, but understand I'm still not an expert in false lashes. I don't do them a ton just because I like how they look, but I'm definitely not great at them. So what I like to do beforehand is you can trim these down if you need to. A lot of times I do trim them down. In all honesty, I got lazy today and I didn't. I probably should have though. That's okay. But what really helps me is I like to kind of fold the lashes a little bit just to kind of bend them so they'll fit your eye better. So I start off first by folding the lash in half, kind of creasing it. I fold it the other way, crease it. I forgot to do it on this lash. I'm like, why is this so much harder to put on my lashes today? That was why. And then you just want to kind of spend some time just kind of like bending your lash so it'll kind of fit your eye shape a little bit better. So for lash glue today, I'm going to put, see, I dropped that too. I'm going to put just a little bit on my eyelash, and then while this is drying, I will explain what glue I use and why. So you just want to put a very thin layer on the eyelash. And then you want to give it about a minute at least to get a chance to kind of get tacky and dry. So while this is drying, I'm going to explain, I use the Duo eyelash glue. I really like it. I've got really sensitive, when I first started wearing eyelashes, I was having issues with some hives and some swelling, so I've got really sensitive skin. This eyelash glue does a really good job with sensitive eyes or skin. So what I seriously recommend doing, I originally started with a black eyelash glue. Don't do it. That's what I started with. And the thing about a black eyelash glue is it dries down black. So you can't tell, but I can get I got lucky today, but a lot of times I'm super messy with my eyelashes. And what can happen is you get that glue all over, and then you've got these black just spots across your eye, and you try to touch up with shadow to fix it. And with that glue, I have a really hard time fixing it with a black eyelash glue, and then you've completely ruined your eye look. With a clear one, you can get eyelash glue all over your eyeshadow, but when it dries, you would never be able to tell. In my last video, the one with the photo shoot, like you can tell at first, I got eyelash glue all over my eyeshadow, and it was a black eyeshadow, and you couldn't even tell after it dried. So that's why I really like this glue. So this should be just about tacky enough. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm gonna move my mirror over so I can see while also showing you. Okay, so you just want to, you can use tweezers too. Some people find it easier with tweezers. I personally find it harder, but that's up to you. So you've just placed the eyelash, I might let this dry too long, on the eye. You might have to kind of readjust and drag. Very rarely do you get this on like the first like time you set it down. Oh, I really hope I don't have to re-glue this, but I might have let it dry too long. Okay, so now what kind of helps my eyelashes is I take my fingers and I just kind of squeeze the eyelashes and my natural eyelashes together. And then the reason I like to do mascara after I put on my false lashes is I find that this helps bring the two lashes together. So I'm just going to gently, you don't want to be too rough, gently do the mascara. Oh no, this side's coming a little undone too. On your lashes. And then once it dries, you can once again kind of meld them together. My eyelashes are just slipping all over today. That's okay. You can just kind of meld them together and it looks more like a natural lash. I did go ahead and add this BH Cosmetics liquid lipstick in Caren with a C. This lipstick works really well. And then this is the Revlon lip gloss in So Natural. I love, or Supernatural. I love this lip gloss. Is it Supernatural? Yeah. Love this lip gloss. Always looks really nice. So this is the final look. The eyelashes were a bit of a struggle, but that's okay. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this look. Feel free to recreate it and send it to me. As I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to use a different palette, use a different palette. If you want to use different colors, feel free to use different colors. You totally could do this effect with blues and greens and reds. Like, there's all kinds of things you could do with this. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to comment down below anything that you want to see. Subscribe so you can see more of my videos, and I will see you next week. Bye.